Martin, we know a lot more about where the clubs are after an FA Cup weekend. What we do know is Tottenham Hotspur under Ange Postecoglou are not going to end up winning the FA Cup this time around, because Manchester City came calling on Friday night and won by a single goal to nil. So what does that mean for Tottenham? What does it mean for Ange? Now they've got the sole focus, obviously, is on the Premier League. Well, certainly when you listen to Postecoglou post-match, the watchword was perspective.
I kind of hope that people have a little bit of perspective about the team we're trying to be. It doesn't happen in 6 months. I don't even think City did it in 6 months. So, we just got to... But that doesn't mean that you shy away from the challenge of it, or you don't get disappointed by it, or don't feel like you could have tackled it in a different way. It's not an excuse, but the reality of it is they're well down the line in being the team they are, and we're still very much in the early stages, and you kind of need to use that as your benchmark moving forward.
That's Postecoglou, Martin. Well, when it comes to the patience of their fans, the feel-good factor minus trophies, does that only take him so far at Tottenham?
Well, I think eventually you're stepping into a football club at Tottenham, the calibre of Tottenham Hotspur, and you're wanting to win trophies. That's the nature of the game. And but he mentioned the word perspective, and I think that's probably right. They just got knocked out by Manchester City. Anybody could get knocked out by Manchester City, but so they won't actually win a trophy this season. But I still feel as if they qualify for the Champions League, that would be a terrific effort. And if they just fail at the end of the day, he's in his first season. Things do not change in 6 months. But eventually, you'll have to go and win something. That's true.
He's got to, Simon, isn't it? You always talk about the monkey off the back being the trophy that Tottenham need to win. That Levy needs to get a manager winning a trophy and a Tottenham winning a trophy. The monkey's still on the back.
Well, it weaponises the conversation against Daniel Levy, doesn't it? So in order to be able to remove that, he has to win something. Look, it's not so much losing to Manchester City because they're a better side. It's the manner in which they played. Man City dominated them. They had one shot on goal at home in an FA Cup. They got knocked out of the League Cup by who? Fulham. And I think those are the disappointing opportunities that they'll look at the cup competitions. And if they won a cup competition, people would criticise that and say it's only a cup competition. So probably at times you can't do right for doing wrong. But I think for Tottenham, getting inside the top four economically will answer a lot of questions that maybe Daniel Levy's asked of Ange Postecoglou. And even that's a long way from being a settled issue. They're fifth in the league now. They're enjoyable to watch. But they were enjoyable to watch for certain people's eyes when they had Ozzy Ardiles there. It's like a basketball game. I think he's a grown-up manager. I think he'll get them somewhere. I'm not quite sure where he'll get them. I don't see Tottenham in the foreseeable future winning a Premier League. So it leaves you with a cup. So sooner rather than later, you need to start achieving in these cup competitions. If the monkey you need to get off your back is winning a trophy. And so League Cups, when you lose them early in his tenure, and he came on, didn't he, and spoke about it and said, let's get some context. You cannot criticise Tottenham Hotspur for getting knocked out of the FA Cup by arguably the best team in world football. Yeah. You can let that one go. You've got to look at the other cup and say maybe there was an opportunity there. But also, I think he's building an underlying culture, a bit like Ben Stokes has built into the England team with Brendan McCullum, which is a cultural thing. The reasons why he said the things he said about playing a high line and wouldn't change for anybody that went down to 9 men against Chelsea is not because he believes he's going to do that. It's because he wants the players to have a certain mental approach, and he's going to take some hits on the way to get there. And I think he's got a chance. I think he's got a really good chance.
There's a good message from Jack, who's a Tottenham fan. He says, Martin, the problem is, it's not a problem with Ange. Tottenham have been building for years now. It can't be the start of a new project for us, because we've seen all that with Pochettino, Jose, Conte, etc. We shouldn't have rested all our players in the League Cup game against Fulham.
My point.
That's a criticism.
I think if you're close, I think that's a perfectly decent argument. Absolutely, but Postecoglou will be aware that trying to win a trophy, and if you. I know Simon mentioned about it being the third most important competition, and it is in that sense. But it's still, look at the teams that are winning it now at this minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're big teams. They're going for it. So I do agree with that one.
We often say, Martin, rightly or wrongly, the FA Cup, oh, what a good departure from the pressures of the league. Oh, it's always the same. I always see it. TV and radio. But you know what? In Luton's case, it's true, is it not? They go to Goodison at the weekend, put Everton out, and they're still now, albeit they've got City next, but they get a major scalp in the FA Cup at the weekend. Does that help Edwards and the rest of the Luton boys to galvanise their attempt to stay in the Premier League?
Absolutely, it does. Of course it does. You've gone to Goodison Park, you've won a game, it's an FA Cup match. It keeps momentum going. It gives you self-belief, it gives you self-confidence. It absolutely does. It's terrific. And you're still, okay, I know Manchester City's going to be difficult, but you're still in the competition. Listen, Luton will be buzzing over that result.
Yeah, and they got a result over one of the relegation rivals.
Of course, yes, it is. You know, it's a remarkable result. It's terrific effort, and of course, it can do nothing but good for the football club.
Do you think Luton will survive, Simon?
No.
I've got a funny feeling about them. I think they've got enough in them, Martin, to get something going to get
depends if
there.
Everton get another penalty. Everton are only a relegation rival because they've had 10 points taken off them. And so really on field performances, they're not a relegation rival. I think Luton are doing precisely what they should do and what I anticipated they would do, which is come up to the Premier League, have no fear, use all the advantages of a small stadium that they've got and all that goes with it, and be proud of the fact that they've come up and they're worthy of their place in the Premier League and make it difficult for opposition. But I still think that the three that are in the bottom three are the three that will go down. I think Vincent Kompany will go down with his honour intact because he's played the same way he wanted to, and they'll all be delighted with that. Sheffield United will go down because they're not good enough, and Luton will go down probably with a good fist of it. Would be my assessment, unless of course they get some added help with Everton getting some more point penalties.
We shall see. The Evertonians wait.
Or Forest,
I wonder if that's just around the next corner, Martin.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.